so I know it's hard for him when he's not playing hockey, and I think he's handled that really well, and just it's still extremely tough moment for him at times, but he's handled it like a true professional, and is very honored. He's very honored to have that bestowed on him.
Focus always has and always will be on what your team does, but have you been consulting with the hockey gods in high places for some scoreboard help here over the last year or so?
Yeah, it's been a little bit wild. A few games have gone kind of wild there, watching some of those ones last night, but at the end of the day, I know it's cliche, but it's us going into Dallas, and whatever happened last night, it still is. We have to win that hockey game, and as one of the goals for us is to beat that team. And again, they've been, like I've mentioned, they've been sitting here behind us all year long. They're having a heck of a year, and no better time to go get ourselves a road win.
What do you think? What do you attribute your success against the Central this year? It's a tough division. Maybe 5 teams may make the playoffs from it. What do you assess your success from?
Yeah, it's interesting. This group, it seems like when we come in here that the record against the division has been really strong, and it has been that way for 3 years. I think that you line up against the same kind of guys all the time. It's just that battle, that sort of that mindset. If you have success, you either try to build on it, to continue to do it. I just think that. I think against the West we do a great job, and we picked up our socks the last few years against the East, where it was a weaker point for us a couple of years back. But when it comes to Central, they're all, they could be in November, they could be in December, or right tomorrow night. They're all kind of playoff type atmosphere, and everybody knows the importance. They know the importance. They talk about the same type of thing about having to be good in the Central to have any kind of success.
Back to Neal Pionk, as I remember it, you were an interim head coach, or sort of taking over for Bones at the time that his friend passed away, and it was one of those big moments where it almost seemed like you yourself were struck by how the Jets took care of things and all of that, and I wonder if we can sort of just speak to that a little bit, because that's not the only time, and even recently, Luke Shen going down south and all that sort of stuff too.
Certainly getting that news after that game in Montreal, and then having to real quickly grab all the guys that had had a relationship with him. That it was Tony, it was Al, it was Neal. There's a few guys, obviously Sammy. So we had to certainly get to them quickly, as we did in Montreal, to give them the news before they found out some other way, and then to get them, give them a chance to go to Duluth, to go and to be there for that funeral, to be able to be around their families and all of them, trying to share that moment. But then they're coming back, that St. Louis game, obviously P scored in that game, and I think it probably hit him on the bench there when he broke down, and it just, for everybody, his teammates, how they rallied around, not just him, everybody felt it, and how everybody we've talked about being a family, and going out and doing it for Adam and those guys. I mean, making sure that we were sticking behind those guys, and that we were supporting them as much as possible. And we've all been through it. You lose your best friend, you lose a parent, you lose a sibling, whatever it might be. Those are extremely difficult times, and you just don't get over them in a day or two. It's something that and like for Neal, this has been a long year and a half or a year or whatever it's been. So it's been a grind for him.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons we wanted to recognize him is sort of trying to recognize that it's not just an injury comeback. These are the sorts of things that take time, and I wonder, he's such an important person socially for the group as well as that. So I wonder if you can speak to his role off the ice in the room with those guys. Yeah,
he's an extremely popular guy. He'll be in the middle of most arguments. Has a lot to do with all the pools, or the master pools, or the NFL thing. I mean, he certainly is one of our leaders in that room. He's been here a while. He knows how we go about our business, and it's family first, and it wasn't, everybody knew that, and I knew that everybody would be there for his back, and to see everybody kind of help support him, and not just at the time when it happened, but also up to this day. It's something that I know that he recognizes that he's gotten help along the way.
One each, please, guys.
Just one question. I spoke to Josh, and we were talking about how that meeting you had with him, Adam, and Mark was a very encouraging meeting from those players' perspective. What did you take away from that meeting you had with them this summer, and how much did that enthuse you going into this year?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a big picture meeting. Obviously, we were talking from training camp, season, sort of a little bit of roster, expectations, my expectations. Listen to them. What they were kind of envisioning. The type of team that we were going to have. A lot of different scenarios we covered. We covered the schedule, like I mentioned, training camp layout, different things. So it was a very broad conversation, but it was the input from them that I wanted to have, and I think that was the best part of it. That I got another month to go after that before training camp, where I could I've already talked to those guys, and those guys have now they spread the word the other way towards the rest of the players and what we were planning to do, and it's a great way to get your leadership kind of up and running and started, and that just was kind of the idea behind it.
Scott, given the magnitude of tomorrow's matchup in your quest for the Central Division title, in your mind, how timely was your club's performance on Monday in terms of its structure and its execution preparation for a game like Thursday's?
Yeah, well, I mean, when we come out of the Vegas game, that was a really good game, but we knew that we had 4 Central Division matchups. It goes all the way to Saturday against Chicago, starting with Utah after that, and it's just the Central is just something like we asked about the importance of these games, and there's no easy competition, and at the end of the day for us, we had to get that St. Louis game. The hype was there already. They'd already won 12 games in a row, and we knew how good they were and how well they've been playing, and it was kind of us rebounding a little bit from the Utah game, like we talked about. We do our post-game review and what we liked and didn't like about Utah, and then we had to make sure that we were better in our areas of strength, and making sure that we go out and try to eliminate St. Louis's game that they wanted to play, and we did a fantastic job of it. And it wasn't just one period; it was 3 solid periods, and I think it all goes back to the Central brings out the best in us all the time. So I'm hoping that carries into tomorrow, build off the great game that we had the other night, but reset, new opponent, and do it again.
Just lastly, what can you tell us about the Oilers and Shannon?
Yeah, Luke went to see family, and Fly's getting closer here. We'll just see. He's game time tomorrow. We're just trying to rest it up, give an opportunity. He'll probably skate tomorrow in the morning skate.
Okay. Are you able to travel with you too?
Yeah, Coop, but he's still yellow jersey. Yep.
Is Neal possible for tomorrow night as well?
Neal's possible. Yeah, yep. Everybody's going to be game time decision there.